Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
It does kind of look
slack. I just have to know that I physically cannot move. So
you're gonna do the old. How you doing? How you doing?
How you doing?
How you doing? Last time I went and got chili dogs at an old place way back in the day. Told the guy, "Hey, I need 2 chili dogs and a root beer," and the guy went, "You want a root beer with that?" I kind of went, "What's wrong with his neck?"
Nothing.
Like, whoa.
Yeah. What's the problem?
What's the problem?
Oh, we got the timer started and everything.
Uh-oh.
We're professionals here.
All right.
Welcome to the Slightly Serious Sign Podcast.
You have to do it as well as Joe did, though.
Well, Joe did. Welcome.
The radio
Gotta
voice.
do like the radio voice?
Yeah.
Welcome.
That's
to the Serious
No.
Sign.
Slightly.
Well, with that voice, it was the serious
sign.
Welcome to the Slightly Serious Sign Podcast, brought to you by France. Voted number 1 also by France, specifically Little Scotty.
I like that. That's pretty good.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 27 of the Slightly Serious Sign Podcast. This episode is voted number 1 by France.
Absolutely.
He thinks we have the greatest podcast in the world.
Without
And
a
that
doubt.
means a lot because he has his own podcast. So that's how good ours is. It's voted over his own podcast. So thanks for coming out. We appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
That's like saying someone's your favorite kid when they're not your kid.
You would say that. So
No, I guess you're right.
I would say.
Tyler is he's my 4th favorite son now, and I only have 3.
I'm just happy I haven't moved down the list.
Well, welcome,
Consistently
Scott.
at 4.
It's good to have you on. It's
great to be here.
I know we talk a lot. At shows and open houses and stuff like that. And when you keep pushing to come on and
Oh, keep pushing.
okay, no, we asked you to come on.
Please, man, come
So
on.
just bagging us. That's everybody so far. They've just been bagging us. We don't
Absolutely.
even have to drag. Nobody's even nervous to come on.
Well, no.
Well, I just want to make it clear. Let's start it off real clear here. There is a time limit, Scott.
No.
Because I know
He
that
told me
you
there was no
love to
time limit.
talk.
He told me there was no time limit. When you guys said come on, I was like, "Whew, this is going to be fun." About 3 hours later.
We brought in 6 water bottles just for Scott.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
as the episode and you just see it refill, it's like a movie when they don't cut out the water. That's what it's going to look like. They've had 45 minutes. It just seems like there's a random cut and then we just go to outro.
Yeah.
You'll know what happened.
Yeah,
We just went on way too long.
Absolutely.
The special cut version, that'll be out later. The extended edition.
extended.
Yeah, it's like Lord of the Rings over here. 3 hours long.
Oh, great. Now I'm the Hobbit.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well,
by the way, why couldn't you at least give me a freaking, telephone book or something over here? I feel like my chin's on the desk.
Well, actually, Domingo said, "Hey, can we have Scott on because I'm way taller than him."
That is true.
That is
No, we're just joking.
well,
awesome.
that was a great intro. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for coming on.
Sure.
We'll start the same way we always start.
Yep.
So who are you? How long you been in the industry? And what is your current role?
So my name is Scott Cutcher. I am the managing partner of Core Visual Group. I started off that business about 4 years ago when I took a gig with France Lighting Solutions and started helping them with their LED line and starting to create the LED line. And so it evolved into this, and that's the role I play now. We're more than just a rep group. We're more of a business development firm. So we sit down with the marketing teams and work closely with them and try to figure out where their gaps are and try to figure out how we can fill them for the market and understand how the market is either perceiving them or not perceiving them properly. And then we help to create the new narrative and then take it out to the masses at the same time. So we're a little different. I've been in the industry 30 plus years. I started hand lettering signs when I was 15. So I was riding my bike past a sign maker, Smitley Walker. Walker Smitley is his name, but Smitley Signs in Piqua, Ohio. And I'm riding my bike by, and I look over, and this guy's got this huge sign on the side of his garage, and he made like this easel on the outside of his garage, and he's hand lettering it. And I was a fine artist. That was kind of my thing. You hit it in the 80s, though, because you know what that meant. But anyways, so I'm just saying, you did. You hit that stuff in the 80s. So I'm driving by, and I was like, well, what's that? And so I pulled over, and he goes, yeah, I'm lettering a sign. This is a logo I'm working on. I go, well, can you teach me? And he smiled. He goes, if you come back tomorrow, I'll teach you some things. And I did. And it just went from there. And I fell in love with it. I was a horrible panel jammer, though. I was very slow at the lettering, and he used to get so mad at me. So then he was just like, you know what? I've got a 3D project that has to be hand carved. I have a feeling you can see in dimension. And that became my forte. I can see things in dimensionally, and that's a gift that God gave me, I guess. And I started hand carving. And from there, it snowballed. Ended up going off to art school. My path was military. My whole family's been military. My brothers were in the military. My cousins in the military, uncles, so on and so forth. Thought I was going to be a ranger. Blew out my knee wrestling. And then God took me on a new path, and I went to art school, basically, got a visual communications degree, got out, started working for Buffalo Wild Wings. I was their associate director of advertising, helped write all the franchise manuals and put all the stuff together for that so they could start franchising. They only had 2 franchises at the time. And then I just was still in love with signs. I always had a little side gig, right? I always had my little plotter and was always making signs, and I ended up going to get some signs done for Buffalo Wild Wings, and the guy was sandblasting. And I was like, oh, what is this? I've seen this before. And started talking to him, and Hank Pryor took me under his wing and became a really big mentor of mine. And I started worked for him for several years. And then from there, I just worked for several companies, Cutcher Advertising, Signs Now in Nashville, Tennessee. And that's where I reside now. I was there 30 plus years ago, fell in love with it, said if I ever settled down, that would be the place I would settle down. And took my wife there for one vacation. She's like, I want to live here. I was like, okay. So 15 years ago, we moved to Nashville and from Ohio. And that's kind of my story. I mean, I can go a lot longer, but it's a lot boring. I don't want you to fall asleep on me today.
No, it's just interesting how we always talk about it, that you get in the industry and you kind of just stay in the industry. But you move from here to there.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that
Not all of us move.
Well, yeah. Yet.
Yeah, let me know if you're hiring, I guess.
No, back to the point of learning little things here and there, and then you could see that the technology evolves.
Sure.
From one thing to another. I still think that there's hand painters still out there.
Oh yeah.
That still do it, but it's more of a premium now.
Yes.
Because it's too much. There's a lot of artistry in it now.
Well, yeah, and after having my own sign shop for years, in Ohio, it's funny. My mother still gets calls because no one hand carves anymore. So she will still, local people will go, does your son still carve some signs? Because I want a sign and I need gold leaf. And she's like, nope, sorry. So she'll call me. I'm like, I got a guy, because, we're connected. We're all in the industry. So I'll hook them up with someone. But yeah, I mean, even that, what's funny is you talked about that. The communities on the old craft are growing. So I'm part of a small community in Nashville of hand carvers, and I never get to carve anymore because you guys keep me on the road all the time. Just saying. But anyways, but it's when I do get a chance, it's fun, and that community is growing, and the young kids are starting to want to learn. So it's kind of interesting. It's not a lot of them, but there are some that I don't know why, but they're finally realizing, hey, working my hands is cool, and they want to do it. That whole the movement of the makers movement, I think, has really spurred that. And it's also high tech is being interwoven into it. But they want to know, okay, well, if I hand carve it, is it more valuable? And it is. So I can sell a hand carved sign right now in Nashville, Tennessee, 3 by 4 foot, $10,000. Easy.
I need to get into that. I could double my income in a year.
Well, it's like the school bus in Kentucky that came through. You have kids that want to come to the open house or look at things. But there's some good conversations with some of those kids that this kid wants to learn. This kid kind of knows other stuff that they, they're asking good questions and that kind of thing. And I'm thinking to myself, that's the next generation that's coming through. And if we don't teach these kids,
bingo.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta open their eyes up to different opportunities and different things.
Well, I think that's the biggest challenge we have in the industry right now. If you think about it, I mean, I know we're going to talk about some LEDs, and you guys came into France, which was awesome. It's a great visit. Love to hear what your thoughts were about it. But I think that is where we have fallen short the most. You heard me say mentorship. I had 2 of them. You don't hear it anymore. You don't hear, oh, well, I was mentored under so, or I was an associate under so-and-so, or an apprentice or whatever. You don't hear it. And that's an issue in our industry. We are doing a disservice to it by not making sure that we educate these kids and that we show them. What would really be cool, I kind of worked on this concept a while back, is if we could get our industry to back this kind of a concept and add to it with their ideas, is two hours a day. You learn through a video series that we do on certain techniques. Then you get to go into the sign shop in the afternoon that's local, that's partnered up with this, and they get free labor, and you're going to do it. You're going to learn how to apply what you just learned via video or text. You're going to get to go do it. And then you're going to have someone mentor you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. And it can't be a grade. This grade thing's crap, right? Don't even get me started on education. You want to talk about 6 hours, easy. Our educational system's broke. And we don't want to fix it. We want to put a Band-Aid on it, because kids today don't need to know where to get the knowledge, or, the teachers aren't giving them the knowledge anymore. They can go, I got it right here. I can pick it up. I get what I want, right? So I've got it right there. I don't need to go to a teacher. What I need to know is, how do I apply that knowledge? Show me application.
Yeah,
and that's
hands-on.
the issue. Yeah, hands-on. And that's the issue. We don't teach application whatsoever. So,
I was thankful for the workshop. I don't know if you had it back in your high school. If you
Oh,
had it.
yeah.
I love workshop because my grandfather was a carpenter.
Oh, okay.
And so that's why now it's just, I'll fix it. Even here at work, something's wrong.
I can't fix crap.
He can fix it.
He just doesn't want to do
Someone
it.
else is going to also have to fix it when he's done, though, to make it right. So
I agree with that 100%.
no, I think you're right with like we talk about the group of school kids. What we've been talking about lately is like art kind of has gone through this age of people being like, oh, you're gonna get an art degree. Like, what are you gonna possibly do with that? And I keep telling people, like, the sign industry, like, if you have an art degree, you have a job. Like, maybe you don't know where to look for it, because I think a lot of them are trying to go like into agencies. They're trying to go like New York or LA, right? But the reality is, a lot of the sign shops that are local to you need those people.
Yeah.
And they don't know that, or they don't look there, I guess. And then the same with hands-on, right? Like, we kind of pushed the trades down and pushed college up, and now it's kind of like, hey, we kind of actually need those people.
Oops.
And now the price that you pay for those people is way higher because there's way less people doing it. So
Absolutely.
that goes for everything. Like you're saying with hand carving, but we're seeing it lately with like neon. The price to do
my
neon
gosh.
signs right now is just through the roof because there's not that many people doing it anymore. So if you want an authentic neon sign, it's not like you can just go to anybody down the street. You're going to very specific shops now, and there's not a ton of them around.
And if you need neon glass, we have it at Wensco.com.
And you're going to
Different
power
colors.
that. And you're going to power that with France Transformers, because they are the best.
And now we're back from our ad. Thank you guys.
Oh, we forgot about the question about, okay, so you do a lot of trade shows.
Yes.
We always ask our guests, is there a restaurant or a food that you're at a location? What city is it, and what restaurant? Because we might be missing something that you may open our eyes up to.
Interesting. Here's the thing: is most of the time I'm with other people and they take me to their favorite place, right? That's what usually ends up happening. They know I'm paying, so they go. We're going
Has he taken us out to
to
dinner?
this place.
He hasn't taken us.
Yeah,
Oh.
He did take me golfing though.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah. We tried to take him out to dinner, but he was too busy. He said he had to get back.
We are in Nashville in like 2 weeks. So
are we, and we're going to be at the same show.
oh, good.
Yeah, so we
There you go.
definitely can go out to dinner.
Okay,
then.
perfect.
Without a doubt.
I'm still gone, aren't I? I can't
Yeah,
be
you're
down
gone.
there.
Yeah. Oh,
Bummer.
son
Yeah,
of a.
I'm not there either.
Well, it looks like you're going to get a good dinner.
Okay. What I did laugh about, so you talk about that, right? Like,
Right.
oh, we usually go to like their favorite restaurant, like usually like somewhere expensive if someone's going to do that. And I was laughing because you guys just went down. We'll talk about that next. But he sent me pictures of where you guys went, and you would think, you're out with a vendor, you're going to go like somewhere nice and get steak. They were standing at the counter ordering food.
Yeah.
There was no sit down and come take your order. They were standing at the counter with France ordering food. I was like, that is so them. That's hilarious that even happened in the first place.
It was me and Tony, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
And the menu was, you remember those old Pepsi menus where they put the little letters in? That was their menu.
Yep.
And like they only have like paper cups, but like that's Tony and I's type of gig. Like
But how was the food?
the food was amazing.
Yeah, peg leg porker, right? Is that one you're talking about?
I think that's what it was.
I think
Peg leg
so.
porker.
Yep.
That would definitely be one in Nashville if you get a chance to make it go there. Hot chicken. So I'll just tell you a little bit about Nashville because I know it well. Everyone loves Hattie B's, right? It's Hattie B's for Nashville hot chicken. No, you want to do Prince's. Prince's has been around longer. They're basically a food truck that's parked outside of one of the bars downtown, and it's phenomenal. It is really the best chicken, in my opinion, in Nashville when it comes to hot chicken.
I don't know. I kind of like Wild Wings chicken.
It's all right. It used to be better. Before they went public, it was better, in my opinion.
Well,
I think it's gotten worse in the last 6 months.
But
I would agree with you.
you're right.
I think it probably was better and it got worse, and it's just continuing to get worse.
I wish I could figure out how their franchise thing works, because if you go to like one around here, they have the little wings. But if you go to any that are in Florida, their wings are bigger. They're clearly the old wings. The ones around here are smaller.
Yeah,
They're
I don't know how it works.
allowed to source. And the thing is that they have several sourcing avenues they can source from, depending on the part of the nation. So I can tell you that.
So
Interesting.
all right. So whoever's in Michigan, figure out where the people in Orlando are sourcing it from. Get those wings, and I'll actually eat at a Wild Wings in Michigan. But I don't eat at Wild Wings in Michigan.
What are you talking about? We got a great source manager right here. Can you get us some wings?
I know a guy.
No.
I know a guy.
Now
Of
we're
course
gonna
you
get a container. We're gonna get a container of clocks and a container of chicken wings. They're just gonna be showing up here.
Hold on.
Like,
Let me
Domingo, why do we have a
note
refrigerated
to myself.
Why do we have a refrigerated container coming in? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
But if you got any freezer space, I need it. So
All right. So want to talk about the visit to France?
How was the factory tour?
Factory tour was incredible. Like we talked about this when we went with your competitor. Like it's fun to see American made products and the way they make them, and the old school style and the new, like you see it all in one. And what I really like to see is the people that are working there, because it's like, those are the true like American people that are working in those factories, making those things, doing that same, because I can't do it. Right. I can't do the same job over and over and over every day.
Tedious.
But that's your true, like that's your American workforce, is the people that do the same job every day, all day, get it done, go home, smile, feed their families. But it was interesting to see. I really liked all of it. Like even like, okay, well, what are these motors for? What is this for? And just to see the different things that they do, because obviously you can't just make transformers.
No.
You'd be out of business. Right. So you have to diversify and to see what they diversified in and how they diversified. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, but look, if you talk about that and you look at it and say they have a process, right? They've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
They may have tweaked it here and there, but it's the same process.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And I think a lot of companies don't do that. They look to see what's the shortest way I can do it, fastest way I can do it, but they're not really looking at the people that are doing it and the processes that are in place to make it go from years to years to years. Some companies are quick, some companies are in, out, see you later, those kind of things. But I like you said, when you see the people's faces, you know exactly whether they like it, they don't like it, or you know what, I'm here for a job.
There was one particular guy I saw, I think he was testing, I can't remember what he was testing. It might have been testing a motor, and he had to put everyone in that little thing and test it.
Yep.
And he was backed up a little bit. If that had been me doing that job, I just moved them all past. I wouldn't have tested a single one. That's why I don't work in those places. I'd have been like, oh, I'm backed up a little bit. I just moved them all over.
Yeah.
Not put any of them in the tester, but he was testing literally every single one at a time. Boom, test. And it wasn't even that fast. It's like a 20-second process or something like that.
Yep.
And he was backed up. Like I said, if that would have been me, I just put tested number 9, tested number 9. And that all went past. So that's why I can't work in those places. So,
well, and that's the thing about France that really drew me to them when I started doing consulting work. And then when they offered me this gig to represent them, I was very honored because they are very meticulous. They take a look at everything. It runs through the engineering department, and they're like, look, if it doesn't hit these standards, whether they're working with a partner overseas and just the engineering department's doing their part and sending it there to be manufactured, or whether we're doing it in our plant, it doesn't matter. It has to hit these standards. If it doesn't hit these standards, we just don't do it. That's a great thing to have. What I found interesting when I first got there, it also can be paralysis by analysis, right? So when the new GM came on board, Kyle Gilbreth, and he came on board about 3 years ago now, he struck such a great balance between that process, like you were talking about, keeping those good processes in place, and how do we innovate at a faster pace. And that's why we just blew up with our product line, because it's not even about innovating. It's about finding other avenues to bring into the business, like he did with Halix and some other companies that we owned and didn't even know we owned them, right? Because we're part of a massive network. So doing that, I think there's a balance between what you talked about and a balance between innovation, right? I think you got to be able to move at a very fast pace these days, but still balance it with making sure the quality's there. I think that's what our industry is struggling with the most, especially in the LED world right now. That's a hard balance.
France was always, I always thought they were really good too, but I think it's Dave, right?
Oh yeah.
It's because Dave, like, he doesn't, like, if something's broke, man, he can't handle it. Like, he just can't, like, he's got to figure out why it broke.
Yeah.
And he'll dig into it to figure out why it's broken. I think that's why France was so solid for so long.
Yeah. Yep.
Was if there was an issue, he figured out the issue, and they fixed the issue.
And now what's been great is, we got a whole team that's like that, because they worked with Dave for so long, and some of them were built the same way. And it's almost, you just need that one person, kind of like what you guys are doing in this distribution world. Is you need that one person to kind of blaze the trail a little bit, and everyone else goes, oh, okay, it's okay for me to do that. Oh, okay, I just got permission, so to speak, right? And so we got a guy in the back, Jonathan. If it can be broke, he will break it.
Yeah, we met the guy. What's your job? I blow crap up.
That's literally what he said.
Well, I'd like to have that job.
Yeah. But he figures it out. He blows it up and goes, okay, here's the weak points. It's weak here, 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 and here. I mean, when we were developing stuff, we had some issues with things. You just do in development. Took it back to him. He blew it up. Said, this is where the weak points are. And then Dave blew it up more and said, here's even more weak points. And we're like, holy crap, let's fix all this. And it's a constant process there. I think any company that's really on the move in our industry, it's a constant process of evaluating, am I truly serving who I serve properly? Right? So knowing who you serve is critical. Like us, we know we serve the end user, but we serve them by partnering with good partners that want to serve the end user together.
Correct.
That's what it boils down to. I think some people have lost their way and said, well, we just serve our distribution channels. No, you serve the end user, and you have a great partner, and they stopped treating you guys like partners. So the communication died. Everything else died because there was no communication, because they stopped treating you like a true partner and just a customer. You were just a customer.
Well, I think in the same aspect, distributors forget that, like, France is a partner also. Like we forget that you're actually our partner. You're not an enemy.
Right.
We're not against you. Like, we are partners. And I think a lot of distributors have forgot that, and still forgot that, where we're starting to bring all you guys on. People are starting to realize, like, wait a minute, like, France controls, like, they're obviously getting leads. If you're not treating them as a partner, you're not going to get the leads.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Wensco was that way for a little while. Like, we were not treating everybody with a partner. We're, every meeting was a bad meeting. And then, of course, you're never going to come here. If every time you come here, we're yelling at you because you didn't do this, you didn't give us this price, you didn't do that. Like, then you're not going to come here, and you're not going to give us the leads. And it took us a while. We figured it out, though.
Oh, yeah. You did.
And I think we do a way better job now. But going back to your visit with France, you took us golfing. And there's some controversy.
If you want to call it that.
There's some controversy over the golf.
Oh boy! And it's still brewing.
No, so
no, there's no controversy.
Here's the reality.
There's no controversy.
There's no question.
No question.
And Tyler's here, so he can vouch for me here. I maybe golf.
Oh, here we go.
Once a year, and then for the last 5 years, I haven't golfed at all. Never golfed. It's not a sport I really like. It's not a sport that's real, unless it's hot out, and it was hot, luckily.
Yep.
It's not very good for, like, I have a disease where I cramp, and so, like, any fast movement, I cramp. So golf's not the right
it's too slow.
Sport for me.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you stop and then I try to quick swing, I'm going to be cramped up. But anyways, we played, and I'm not a bad golfer for someone that golfs all the time. So Scott sucks.
I do. It's true.
But I love doing it because it is so much fun, because, like, I rent clubs, and when you're with a guy that golfs all the time, which
Kyle does.
Kyle golfs all the time, and he's like, this guy's renting clubs. I'm like, yeah, I have to rent. I don't have clubs.
Yeah.
And then we get up and tee it off and ting it a little bit by his. You golf all the time. No, I don't.
Nope.
Just one of those things that are just like, I can't even say it's muscle memory. It's just all you do is you just got to hit the ball straight.
Yeah, but
how hard is it?
But you know what? You're not telling the truth. The truth is he had a superpower. So he was mediocre until we had Fireball.
Yeah. You gave me yeah. We took a shot of Fireball.
You took the juice.
That thing straight.
It's like, shing!
Well, it also helped.
Aiming
there's
fluid.
there's a couple of times on
Got
the
to fuel up.
Yeah. There was also a couple times on the par 5 where I hit it out there in the fairway and it landed right on another tee. Then I hit that sucker again all the way up to the green.
It's true.
It landed right on another tee. Like, just happened to be when I walked up there.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, it's
it was
right
amazing.
on a tee.
It just appeared out of nowhere.
It
Kind of
bounced
came out
off
of the ground.
Yeah.
Came
Somehow
out
it
of the
just,
ground, went right onto. Is amazing.
yeah, it was
I've
all
never seen
teed
it.
up right in the middle of the fairway. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like Happy Gilmore in reverse.
Wow. You got to watch him. You're counting scores.
But it
So-
was
but it
fun.
was-
It was a nice
yeah.
course. We had a lot of fun that day.
Oh, nice trees over there, kicking the ball forward. Yep.
Whatever it takes. I did learn
I play
something
under the
about.
shade. I like to be under the shade.
So yeah,
My ball likes to be in the water.
That's what he tells everybody. He likes to play in the shade, and then every
Yeah.
water hole, he's getting a little hot. He wants to swim. A little
Yeah,
bit.
absolutely. Me too.
I did learn something about golf carts. So this course,
Oh my God.
this course, if it says you have to stay on the path, you have to stay on the path, and your cart will shut off if you go off the path. However, if you have it in reverse, they
doesn't.
don't shut off.
Nope.
So we can drive reverse to our ball through the no cart zone,
Which we did often.
we did often.
Yes, we did.
So like I did learn, yeah, if you're playing a golf course and it won't let you drive there because your cart shuts off, put it in reverse, it'll go, it'll make it.
There's your tidbit.
It's like
Yeah,
if
that's
there's
a
a
tip.
will, there's
Brought
a
to
way.
you by
Yeah.
Wensco.
Yep.
Who's not allowed back at this golf course in Nashville apparently anymore. So
Oh no, they were. It was a pretty cool golf course.
It was really nice.
Yeah, rolling hills. It was really cool. I'd never been there because it was a little outside. You know, it was more in Dixon area, so it was further out. But yeah, it was very cool. It was a lot of fun.
that's
Yeah.
good. So we have a factory obviously in Nashville.
Yep.
What are you making at that plant versus what's like coming from elsewhere? I guess is the question.
That's a good question. So we still make all of our transformers there, right? And we make them on demand now. We have some in stock, of course. And we have a small stock, and then whatever you guys need, we make them and send them out to you. We also make our True Stick and our True Connect product there. It's all assembled there. It's all put together there. The modules obviously is with a partner overseas. A lot of France and what they do, being part of Berkshire Hathaway, is they integrate a lot of connections, right? So they'll have a connection or they'll own a piece of something or whatever, and they try to integrate as much as possible and use that leverage to ensure quality. That's a lot of what we do. And it really starts off with our engineering. So even if we get a product from a potential partner and they send over a product they want us to look at, it goes straight to Jonathan and Dave to break. That's where it goes first. We try to break it. And so we find out what the tipping point is and we go, oh, this isn't good enough. And we might change, like our new power supplies changed our resin. We might change little things about it to make it more durable and worthy of putting the France name on it. So we also so all the custom sticks are made there, all from True Sticks. What else are we making there? Oh, we make all the cans there. So the cans are shipped in, but we do the fast packs. We actually put them all together there.
I saw that too. That was pretty neat.
Yeah. So we put all those together there. That's probably it. When it comes to lighting sources, here's the problem. And one of our competitors can attest to this. When you try to manufacture something in the U.S., because of the EPA and the regulations, your costs will rise over time where you will price yourself out of the market every single time. And there's nothing you can do about it because we've looked at it. We've done a cost evaluation. We've got robots and other parts of our thing. We're very high tech. It's not like, it's just people filling things. Things are very automated. So we've got literally a new guy that's phenomenal at that kind of logistics. And when he looked at everything, he said, it just doesn't make sense. We can't do it because of the EPA regulations. It's dangerous when you play around with phosphorus, right? It is. And so you have to do things a certain way. But things have changed a lot in the LED side of it. So you don't really need to manufacture it here. What you need to do is make sure that you run, heat management's key. Heat kills LEDs, period, end of story. So if you start with the power systems like we did and then build a great light source around it, you got a little more solid system, probably a lot more solid system if I'm not being modest, because the biggest failure point is the power system. And that's something that France has done for almost 100 years, and we do better than just about anybody out there. Our closest competitor, we have a lot of respect for. They do a great job. But when it comes to power systems as a whole, we're kind of the leader, and we're good at it. So,
well, you look at who's left. It's only you and one competitor, like versus what you had years ago. Like,
true.
It's like I said, I've said this before, I think on here, like if you just do it right, you'll be the last one standing almost every time. And don't compromise. Don't like, if it keeps working, just keep it working, and don't compromise quality, and all that kind of stuff, because you'll be the guy standing. Like, I think we were talking about,
the failure rate was just low.
Yeah, actually, it was Centra when we were talking about it. Like Centra, like, okay, well, all this other PVC came around, and Centra stayed. The name stayed. Everything stayed. Like even like Kleenex stayed. Like there's all these other things. Well, it's still called Kleenex. Why is it called Kleenex? Because it was the best for so many years. It's called Centra. It's the best for so many years. So yeah, just stay true to your. If it's a good product, stay true to it. And France did that.
Part of that is also going back to good partners, because back in the day when we were just getting started, you guys are one of the oldest ones we have. So Montroy is the oldest one, hands down. Matter of fact, Nick's grandfather actually helped to create one of the transformers. I mean, did some of the testing and worked with us. It was very tight. You guys were right behind him. So you're one of the oldest relationships we have. It was, I believe, Montroy, you, and Glance were the three oldest relationships. But as far as relationships that over the years has cultivated into friendships, we haven't had that many, and you guys are one of them. And Dave has such a sweet spot for y'all and for Judy and for everyone that's involved. And that permeates through the whole company. And when you guys came and visited, when you left, everyone was like, wow, I like them. They're really cool. I really hope
we're cool guys. It's Tony and I. I mean, that's why I didn't bring Domingo or Tyler.
I would have been poking at it.
Then they wouldn't have let us leave. That would have been the problem. We would have been too cool.
Right. I would have just stayed with the blow up guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's blow it up together, buddy.
Turn those amps up.
Yep.
Let's go.
So no, and I think that's important, right? Is where we're at and where we're now going because of good partners. And we fell asleep for 20 years. I mean, we did the same thing like you said. We fell asleep. We kind of just went on autopilot. We made the best transformers and we knew it. Went on autopilot, put one toe in the water over and over with LEDs and never went all in, and was just watching the market do what it was going to do. So we knew when we came in, we had to make a difference. And that's why we really focused in on heat management. We really focused in on lens sets. We blow people's minds when they see our lenses. They're just, I mean, you saw the train up here. I put 2 in there in that box, and people were like, hey, there's 8 in there. And I pulled it back and there's only 2, and they were like, oh, okay. So it's really, there is a difference, but it's being minimized. Like you said, everything's getting so good. The difference is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. So the key at this point, there's not much more innovation that can be done with modules. There really isn't. I've got some ideas that I won't air here because I'm under an NDA. And I'm hoping to help France do them. But there's only about 2 or 3 left. The rest of them are, I mean, it's already been done for the most part.
What we've seen with France, and this goes to what you're talking about, is the return rate on anything that we get from France is minimal, right? I don't ever see them. When I do see them on the shelf, they look like they were lit on fire. Is technically how that happens, right?
So someone wired it wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Or or they got too many amps on one side.
Yeah.
And the whole thing just lit. That's what they look like. They never look good on the shelf. Like it's like, I need to return this, and you get it, and it's like brown, and you're like, okay, sure, that one blew up. But besides that, like we just don't see it, and that's what we're talking about. Like, I think there's a push industry-wide that we've had going. I think it's kind of going away from it, is just cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, right? We just want the cheapest one we can get. We talked about that in Centra, right? Give me the cheapest PVC I can get. And then you get it and then reach back out to us and we're like, hey, it's got these marks in it. Or you get the cheapest LED you can get and you're like, hey, 1 in 10 doesn't work. And it's like, they reduce quality control. That's where a lot of the cost goes into. And France is just not doing that. They're not like, let's just cut corners and get it as cheap as we can get it. So with that, where are you guys kind of trying to sit yourself like in the market compared to your competitors out there?
It's so funny because it came out by accident. So it might have been the Fireball, I don't know. But it came out by accident when Tony asked me in the cart, he goes, where are you guys going? And I said, well, to infinity and beyond. No, I didn't say that. But I said,
he would stand up in the car too, like,
no, I said, people, of course, we have great LEDs because we worked really hard to get them. Our whole goal before all this mess happened, all this craziness happened, which we're in a mature industry, it's going to happen. I don't fault anyone for what's going on. How it's being done is a whole nother discussion, but I don't fault what's being done, okay? We're in a mature industry. You're going to buy people. You're going to merge. You're going to do these things. And then what does that do? That wakes people like us up to re-innovate again and be trailblazers, which is needed right now. So it's all part of the cycle. I just want to say that because I think a lot of people get hung up on that. How it was done, it's a personal. Anyways, we don't need to get into that again.
I may have said some stuff about it.
Maybe
in previous videos.
Yeah, maybe.
Episode.
You
We don't
know
talk
what?
about it.
Click on whatever he puts up here to go see those if you want to see them.
Episode two. I think it's two.
Yeah, there you go. So, when I was talking to him, I said, it's funny because when I look at where we're going, I see us as an electrical components manufacturer that happens to have amazing LEDs. He goes, what are you talking about? I said, well, power systems and electrical components are where we're going. We're just adding more power systems right now. We're developing several more ones that people need for programs. We're focusing heavy on programs, but we want to be there for everyone. And the reason we're focusing heavy on that is the big players have fallen asleep. And the big players have let some of the quality go. And there's been, investment companies buying up all kinds of stuff that has diminished their ability to produce a good quality product on a consistent basis. And then there's ones that are good. They're good competitors, and I'm honored to be competing against them. And so there was a lane that we saw that we could slide in, and ironically, the lane was to go against a Sloan, but be priced like a principal, which is what we were able to do. And then they combined. So my joke with them is, you guys had to combine so you compete with us because we're priced like a principal. We perform like a Sloan, right? So, of course, Blake loves that every time I say it to him. I have a great relationship with all those guys, and I have a lot of respect. But again, everyone has a place in the market. And I think the key right now is for everyone to step back and go, who is my real partner and who do I really serve? Because we've become so focused on serving self that's not the industry I fell in love with. I fell in love with an industry that was very artistic, craftsman, just super creative, crazy what we could figure out and come up with. But it was always about producing a superior product for the end user to be able to make sure their brand was properly represented. And we've gotten away from it. And I think we're getting back to it. I think people are waking up and everyone's trying to get back to it. But again, back to educating the next generation.
Yep.
That's going to be the key, to make sure that they realize there is a difference between this product and that product. It was funny you were talking about cheaper, right? Being able to go cheaper. There's a place for cheap product. A good, solid, inexpensive module for everyday use. Absolutely, there's a place for that. But there's also a place for, hey, I can load 100 of these on one power supply. So I just got a major account switched over, and I'm not going to say from who. You guys aren't going to like me. Just is switching over right now, and I'm working out the details this week with them, and they're switching everything to us, power systems, all of it. And that account did some analysis, and I think that's the key. Back to what we were talking about. Are you really taking into account all of your costs? That's what it really boils to. Are you really taking care of all that?
Apples.
Yeah,
We've
you're not.
always said.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the true cost? We've said it 1,000, and I've said, we've talked about it on this podcast a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Like your time is the most valuable thing that you have. If you're wasting your time trying to put a 35-cent module in a sign when you could be doing something else, like you're wasting your time.
I was getting excited over here. I started getting on his court. He's like,
you see me getting closer to him. He's pulling my headphone in the whole time. I was trying to look over and you couldn't look that way. No,
get a little closer.
No, 100%.
Don't be shy.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think what you guys are doing specifically is you're putting yourself in a position. It's the same thing we've been doing since the beginning of this year, is putting yourself in a position that says like, hey, you might be happy with your current LED solution, but one, if you're going to look at the cost of it, bring us in. We want to talk about it. But two, if you run into issues, which is what we've kind of been harping on, like if you get the cheaper solution, you're going to end up having issues, and maybe you're not taking those into account, right? Maybe your production guy isn't telling you that, hey, every 10 signs we wire up, the power supply it doesn't even turn on, right? We just set it aside and we put a new one in, or we get out into the field and we wire it up and it doesn't turn on and we go, oh, this power supply is no good, right? and you may have no idea that that's happening. He's just been kind of dealing with it.
Right.
And we run into that, right? Like with the cheaper products, that's going to happen, right? That's why the quality control is lower. And that's kind of where you guys are sitting. Like, hey, if you want to look at cost, if you're running into any issues, if your production's getting slowed down, anything like that, we're going to be in that spot.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And what's funny is I love to sell LEDs because I know we got a fantastic one. Start with the power systems. Start with the biggest failure point. We'll warranty with anybody's LEDs 5 and 5. Why? Because we know we have a solid lineup, no matter what it is, from our Slims to our smaller one to our Cadillacs, we know we have a solid lineup. So it's like, we'll do 5 and 5 with anybody's. So I think you got to start off with that. And with some of them, if they test out really well, if they send it to us and they allow us to test it for programs and stuff, we may even do a 7 and 7. It just really depends, right? And that's parts and labor. And, I think we're good for it. Being Berkshire Hathaway, I don't know. We might be good for it.
Yeah, you might have enough money there.
Maybe.
Well,
maybe.
Even besides that, like we talk about this with DTF. Like someone will come out with a new DTF, company we never heard of, and then they'll offer like a 3-year warranty on it. And you're like, you haven't even been around 3 years. Like how are you gonna honor the warranty? I don't know if you're gonna be here. Versus France is like, yeah, we're offering a 5-year warranty. Yeah, they've been around forever. Like at least you're gonna be like, they're not going anywhere. Like that's the big difference. Like a new LED company can come in, like which is what's happening. Like they'll just come in, we'll never heard of them before, and it's like, yeah, we have a 7-year warranty. Be like, you've been around 4 minutes. Like how are you gonna honor a 7-year warranty? How do you even know your LED is gonna make it 7 years? Like you haven't. There's no way you've done enough testing to know.
So what you're saying is Tommy Boy was right. You can crap in a box and put a warranty on it, but it's still a box of crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is exactly right.
It's a great summary. Yeah. So you talked about kind of where France is trying to position themselves. Is there any other changes you see coming in the LED space that
you can talk about?
Wait, Tyler, does this one air after?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. How confident are you that it's going to work?
Uh-oh. Ooh, are we going to get a bomb drop here?
We could. It's 27.
So what's the
25? Well, 24 technically. So hopefully the 24.
So you've already seen something drop.
No, we can.
Everybody's already seen something drop.
Yeah.
So you've already seen when it dropped. You already saw how many episodes ago was it?
And I know about
3
it
episodes ago. There's some people that have learned about it. So you already know where to go get your LEDs, and it can be powered by France with the warranty. So go get it.
So when we talked, earlier, when we talked about there's cheaper options out there, and we have that
go
option
for it. Jump into it. Why not?
There's an option.
So there's a cheaper option, and what we talk about is every time something's a cheaper option, doesn't mean it's a cheaper product.
True.
It may be a cheaper way to get the product.
True.
Or you're paying less people. And we already talked about it 3 episodes ago.
Yep.
Where if you're simply paying less people, you can have a quality product, but you're paying less labor to get that product to the customer. So that's our strategy.
No, totally true. And France did the exact same thing. We've talked about it, right? So France did the same thing. We have our Cadillac. You can load it 100%. We got two versions, the Atlas and the Economy. But we just came out with our utility drivers. Well, the utility driver is only 85% load, but that guy is about this big, right? So it'll fit into most situations that you need to do. I jokingly said we need to call it the Scott driver because it's this big. But anyways...
Two different ways of doing that.
Careful.
Might have to get this.
I can't comment.
Okay, we're 42 minutes.
Okay, we gotta wrap it up.
It's gonna stay. No, I'm not saying we have to wrap it up. What I'm saying is, if anyone made it this long, that joke stays.
Yeah.
You don't need to cut it.
If they've already been listening that long,
made it 42 minutes. It stays.
But that driver, a lot less, $8 less a unit. Why? Because we were able to re-engineer it in such a way that it's not a cheaper product. We were able to cut out certain processes that weren't needed in a product of that nature, and then make sure that the quality of product in the resin was still there that we needed. That's how we were able to do it. So, and part of that was finding the right partner. We found a partner through our network that's phenomenal, and their philosophies align with us perfectly, and their engineering team works with ours perfect. Great. That is the key, because when you're going back and forth, there's all that added cost of going back and forth and development, right? If you can bring your development costs way down because it's fast And you guys see how quick we're starting to come out with stuff because we now have it dialed in. We have a younger engineering team. You want to know where we're really going? We've got a young, first one under 40 in probably 60 years, GM. That's Kyle. He's building and built a young engineering team that the older engineers are mentoring. So you get this perfect combination of innovation and wisdom working together to build what this industry, just trust me, y'all, keep an eye out because we are going to become one of the juggernauts. But we're going to do it in such a way that we remember who we serve. That is the key here. We serve the end user, period.
Yeah, that's where our industry, we talked about it before, that's where our industry went away from, and we're trying to bring it back hard, and there's a lot of people copying us.
Yeah,
a lot of our industry is copying what we're doing right now. We're trying to copy what we're doing, where we're bringing it back to, like, it's a customer service industry.
It is.
Like, we need to teach you what you need to use, the correct way.
Yep.
Not just like expect you to find it on YouTube or expect you just to go online and just to order it.
Right.
Like, we're here to tell you what the differences are in the product, what we like, what we don't like.
Absolutely.
And when we sell multiple lines, there's no benefit for us to say, oh, that's a great product when it's not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the main benefit, like we've talked about it in one of our other episodes, one of the little G's only has one option out there, right? You only can sell one LED. That's the only option, right? There's a couple different models, right? But in terms of like, so if you go and ask them, right? Like say we only sold France, right? And someone came to me and they're like, well, what LED should we buy? The only incentive I have to tell you is you should definitely buy France.
Yeah,
It's the best one.
absolutely.
There's nothing
yeah,
better,
what
right?
car should I buy? If you only sell a Ford Mustang, oh, you should buy the Ford Mustang.
That's exactly.
Yeah, but I got 4 kids. Oh, they'll fit in the back.
Absolutely.
Squeeze them in.
And it comes in one color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
You have to get the red one.
Yeah.
And all we're trying to do is position ourselves, right? If we thought the United module was the end all be all, it was the best solution for every single application, then that's probably all we would carry. But the reality, it's not.
It's not. It's got to be the right module for the application,
Correct.
period. And the story. It's got to be application driven. Has to be. There's times people call me up and go, hey, I got this. Well, tell me about the application. They'll send me a drawing. I'll look at it and go, nope. And I'll refer them to who they need to go to, right? And I think that's the key is people are looking for that trusted advisor, what you're talking about. There's more than just someone that's going to supply them, but be a trusted advisor. And one of the things I've always been impressed with is your guys is willing to learn and apply. I'm not just saying that. It's always impressed me. Oh, well, we know how to do it. I mean, I came in for the sales meeting and you got one of your guys out there lettering your own trucks. And I'm going, how many people do that? Right? Seriously, they subcontracted to one of their sign companies. You guys are doing it, right? So you want to know how things are applied, how well it works. You want to know firsthand. That's huge. I think that's extremely important going forward.
Yeah, we talk about educating our customers, but choices. But we have to educate them to the right choice.
Correct.
Right? Because pricing, everybody looks at cost, but that may not be the solution that you really, really need.
Right.
Because you're just going to replace it a month later.
If you're looking just at the spec sheet, like when you did that demo, right, with the 2 modules, if you're looking at the spec sheet, like nobody's building a sign with those 2 modules, right?
No.
Because on their end, the lumens are too low and you're not going to get the sign the customer wants. But if we get out in the field and we show you like, hey, here's why we're going to use 50% less LEDs. And on the spec sheet, you're going to have, whatever it is, 40% less lumens.
Yep.
But the reality is when you look at the sign lit, it's going to look the same as the other one. But you're not going to know that unless someone comes and shows it to you and explains it to you, because on your end, you're like, I'm buying this module. It's this lumens per watt. This is how many I need for a sign. This is the depth, all that things. But if you don't see it in person, you're never going to know, hey, there's a better solution.
More's better.
that's
More's
cheaper.
better.
Yeah.
Right? More's better.
Yeah.
It is not.
No. And then dark sky laws are now saying, hey, we need to dim them. So we had to come out with dimmable drivers because everyone's like, oh, we got to dim these because dark sky laws are coming up now. So now we're making them too bright, washing out colors. It doesn't look good, right? But on top of it, and this is a very self-centered plug, one of the advantages of using Core and having them represent your products, we understand fabrication. So now on top of saying, oh, you don't need what your point was, I can say, you know what, you can go down to a 3.5-inch coil now. What are you talking about? You can go 3-inch letter with ours. It'll look as bright as their 5-inch, and you're saving money all the way around. Not just on the coil, on your paint, on everything else that goes into fabricating that. I'm kind of your fabrication consultant, right? And that's the beauty of having 30 plus years and 20 of those years fabricating, right? I'm able to say, guys, I've screwed up every kind of sign there is. Don't do this. I wish I'd have known this then, so on and so forth. You guys can do the same kind of things. And what's great is you're hiring, like you've got a digital specialist, right? You guys are trying to get more specialized in certain areas to where you can educate them and then educate the rest of your staff. That's huge. Back in the day, I worked with Larry Marker. We were at one of the little G's. And, we built a LED division, and that LED division, I mean, he built it, but I was helping him. The LED division was literally specialists that did nothing but live, breathe, and eat LED and power systems, and then teach everyone else. That's all they did. And they blew up until they didn't, because someone came in, big dog, overregulated, wanted to know the key KPI to every little thing that you did, and didn't let innovation happen anymore. Didn't let the relationships, foster anymore. So
yeah, I learned through this whole process of us, the whole LED thing. I've learned way more than I ever wanted to know about LEDs.
I bet you did.
But it's one of those things you had to step in. You had to do it. How's it made? What's it done? Like, what's the color? What's the brightness? Like, can you make it 0.72 watts? Can you make it 1.2 watts? Is it really 1.2 watts? What happens? Like, where's the heat sink? All that stuff I had to learn that I never wanted to learn.
Right.
But the reality was I need to step in and learn it so we make the correct modules and that we can talk intelligently about it. So you don't look like an idiot when you're talking to the guy that actually makes the sign. So, and
would it be fair to say in that process, when you started learning about our modules, you realized what we had?
Yes. Yeah. You learn what's the good, like, I don't want to say the bad ones on air, but there's some bad ones. I mean, there's definitely some bad ones.
I don't want to say it, but I will.
That's a special episode.
Yeah, that's a special episode.
Well, can I come back for that one?
Well, those people there's some bad ones that where I don't have nothing against those people. They just make a bad module and they're trying to come out with like, oh, it's only, end user cost us 34 cents. No, it's a bad module and it's not going to perform and you're going to use twice as many. So your 26 cents now just turned to 52 cents.
Yep.
Because you got to use twice as many and now you got to add an extra power supply. So you just lost money because it's just a bad module. And I learned how to make them cheap. Yeah. I learned how you can actually make a very cheap module, like a cheap module, not like the one we produce. We produce one cheap because there's no extra overhead in it.
I wouldn't say that in just knowing what I do know at this point, and I can't wait to get my hands on it, I wouldn't say that it's cheap. I wouldn't even use that word. Right there. I'm going to take some with me. But in my testing, I guarantee what I'm going to find is that it's a solid performing, what I call a lower end module. It's not cheap. The cheap ones are the ones that the product itself is cheap. I don't know if I would definitely call it that.
No, ours is definitely a lower end. But it's going to perform well.
Yep.
It's economy.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's economy.
It's not made for everything. That's why we have other brands.
Right.
That's why we have the France and we have GE and we have G2G because it's not going to perform for everything. But it's going to get your general stuff. It's basically designed to eliminate two specific modules out there. It's made to eliminate the quick mod. It's made to eliminate the Kestrel. Yep. That's the only reason we built it. So, and that's the reason it's out there.
And what it says on the spec sheet is going to be accurate.
Yeah, and the spec sheet is going to be accurate.
No. You mean you're not going to download one and then you go find one on someone else's and they don't match?
Yeah.
Or my favorite is the one where it says on the power supply part of it that be careful, it may burn you in operation. That's my favorite. Gee, I wonder if it runs hot at all. I don't know.
All right, should we wrap this up, Tyler? It's 51 minutes.
This is a long episode, so we appreciate you coming on. I think it's one of our better ones, to be honest with you. Like it doesn't feel like it says 52 minutes, which is actually probably accurate. So.
And this module is already out, but we're going to bust it out right now when this is done. So Scott can see the module. Yes. So, but it'll be out by the time this episode shows.
Thanks for coming out. If you made it this long and you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe.
Please.
If you've made it this long, you should definitely be subscribed.
For sure.
And go find my podcast.
Yeah. You give it a shout out to
what is your podcast?
What is your podcast? It's called Behind a Sign.
There you go.
So
behind the sign.
We talk about all the logistics of what happens behind the sign, what you got to be, all the costs, all the things. It's more educational, but we try to make it fun.
Perfect. We'll link that somewhere. Rick will do it. So
yeah, get it done, Rick. So you weren't here.
Appreciate you coming out. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks, guys.
We appreciate it. We'll see you in the next one.
All right. See ya.